My wife, or as I was recently instructed in London by the Indian diaspora community, my mehabuba, are more delighted than you could possibly imagine in being able to join you here in Mumbai as part of this quite extensive tour of various parts of India that, believe it or not, I have not managed to reach in the last 40 years, although I have been here before on several occasions. And it is incredibly good of you all to take this time in the weekend to join us here this evening. Now, quite a few of you, I suspect, have been with us before at Windsor Castle and elsewhere as part of the British Asian Trust's activities, but I don't know how many of you realise how much of India was part of my upbringing. I mean, I was surrounded for so much of my childhood by objects and pictures and photographs and stories about the subcontinent. And so, I don't know, I was always rather affected by the romance and the fascination of this remarkable part of the world. And of course, Sandringham House in Norfolk is filled with every kind of object that my great-great-grandfather, King Edward VII, when he was Prince of Wales, was given during his tour here in 1873. In fact, all the things he was given could help us start a small war on our own. But he was also accompanied by my great-grandfather, Prince Louis of Battenberg, who was the father of my great-uncle Lord Mountbatten. And Prince Louis of Battenberg was then his ADC. And in fact, he was a remarkable artist in his own right. So I was trying to work out the other day, I must have come to India probably 40 years ago. And I will never forget the impression that first visit made on me. So I'm afraid I developed a particular interest and love and indeed passion for this part of the world. And you know better than I that both countries have given each other a great deal over all these years of association. And I know we have ended up with wonderful Indian things that people take for granted in Britain. I don't think they realise where they came from very often, whether it's shampoo or bungalows or jodhpurs or pajamas or curry, which I suspect now people think is a British national dish, let alone tandoori chicken and a whole lot of other things. And of course, in the other direction, I suspect cricket, which was certainly an English invention, was somehow adopted in the most remarkable way by people in the subcontinent. We gave you Sir Geoffrey Boycott, you replied with Sachin Tendulkar. And I know he's here at the moment, and as I become an old age pensioner myself next week, which has already been alluded to, and incidentally I've always been so proud to share a birthday with Pandit Nehru, it might be an appropriate moment just to wish the Master a happy retirement. So, ladies and gentlemen, if I can just say that it is remarkable how in India you have developed the art of entrepreneurship to the most extraordinary heights. And I know many leading entrepreneurs are here this evening. Many have become multinational powerhouses. For instance, Reliance started, as Mukesh Ambani was telling me this evening, with his father with 100 rupees. Tata, Mahindra, and a whole lot of other remarkable companies making a global contribution to business. And of course, we in Britain now have, what, 1.4 million people of Indian extraction, accounting for a significant part of the United Kingdom population and making an enormous contribution in every conceivable walk of British life. And that is something that adds hugely to the richness of our experience and our culture in Britain. So it just seemed to me a few years ago that it would be incredibly valuable to try and encourage and work with the diaspora in Britain in terms of trying to assist with many of the challenges that you face in the subcontinent, whether Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and to find ways of connecting people in Britain and with this part of the world. And so I was extremely proud that we were able to launch my British Asian Trust, which has successfully linked the diaspora in the United Kingdom with all sorts of remarkable charities in this region, in order to help transform the lives of thousands of people in Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and especially here in India. In fact, the Trust has now been able to help, I'm proud to say, more than 1 million of this region's most disadvantaged people in its first 5 years. And I just wanted this evening, if I may, to express my profound gratitude to those people in my trust who've made all this possible, in particular to Manoj Badali and his small but really brilliantly effective team led by Hitan Mehta. And really they have been remarkable in what they've done. And what we've been able to do in many ways is support a whole range of charities in different fields. They include mental health in Pakistan, entrepreneurship in Sri Lanka, empowering girls and young people to move into employment here in India. And this morning, my wife and I went to visit something called the Mumbai Mobile Creche, which I think is one of those remarkable charities started by incredibly determined Indian ladies. And very often they're the ones who make things happen. And this is where I discovered 10 years ago when I was here in Mumbai. It worried me to discover that there are 30 million migrant workers in India who work on all the construction projects. And many of them are women who were carrying their children on their backs while shinning up and down these huge building sites. And I remember talking to my British Asian Trust about this. And so they have been helping the Mumbai Mobile Creche to do some remarkable work in ensuring that the children of all these migrant workers are looked after and accommodated. And this is something which I think we need to, more than anything else, to salute the various constructions, well, particularly one construction company, which has ensured that this happens, the K or the Raheja Group, which have managed to ensure this happens. And Ms. Rishrali Pispati is the great inspiration behind all this. So this is one thing we've been able to do alongside a whole lot of other things. And I could not be more grateful to Mr. Mukesh Ambani, not only for organising this remarkable evening for my trust, and ladies and to all of you for attending, but also to Mr. Ambani for chairing our new Indian Advisory Council, because this will enable us to add huge value to all the things we can do here in India and indeed elsewhere. And I am, again, hugely indebted to the other founding members of the Advisory Council, Mr. Ranjit Bhattakur, Mr. Neeraj Kanwar, who sadly couldn't be here this evening, Mr. Ramadarai, Mrs. Naina Lal Kidwai, Mr. Harish Salvi, and Mrs. Kiran Mazumdar Shaw. I do hope, ladies and gentlemen, that we might be able to engage others of you here to help join in and work with us, because collectively we can achieve so much more that is effective and powerful and rewarding in every sense than just operating alone. So I hope that with the support of my advisory council, we will be able to establish a broader remit for our work to include conservation, built environment, better planning and so on, and bringing in some of the wider experience over the last 40 years of my other charities, including the Prince's Trust. And I hope that with a rather ambitious vision, we can translate all this before long into a Prince's Charities Foundation for South Asia to work in collaboration with the wonderfully innovative and effective civil society here in India across a broader range of activities to scale up their opportunities. And here, you know, I must just pay tribute after, as I say, 40 years of coming to India. For instance, I think I must have known somebody called Bunker Roy in Rajasthan for jolly nearly 40 years. And Bunker has been doing the most remarkable work in all these villages in Rajasthan, bless him, for much longer. But he is a truly remarkable man. And his work with small-scale solar and so on, and water harvesting in all these areas in Rajasthan is truly remarkable. There's Vandana Shiva, who does the most incredible work on sustainable agriculture, and the maintenance, the saving of seeds, and all the things that are otherwise under threat. Rajendra Singh, who I met years ago, who has done incredible work on water harvesting and bringing water back in places in Rajasthan where the rivers have dried up completely, just by rediscovering traditional water harvesting techniques and check dams and things like that. Then, of course, there's Miss Prashali Prispati, as I mentioned. There's wonderful ladies like Miss Geeta Dharma Rajan, who runs the Kata Community Lab School in Delhi, which I went to see yesterday, which is also supported by my British Asian Trust. And Mrs. Nina Advani, who my darling wife went to see this afternoon, who runs the Asha Sadan residential home for unbelievably neglected, abused children and young girls. And all these remarkable people are the sort of people, ladies and gentlemen, that all of us could make such a difference to, all over India, in so many different ways. So, thank you, if I may say so, for all your help, all the things you do already with your foundations, which I know are incredibly extensive and hugely admirable. But maybe you just might think about the added value of us all working together to bring even more resources and effectiveness in terms of meeting the great challenges that you face here. Thank you, Lisa.